Well, hello there. Thank you for joining us on This Won't Last Call. How are we doing today? Today we're going to do the a Christmas episode, if you couldn't tell. We're going to do a drink called the Coquito, per viewer request. Sandra, thank you for suggesting this. I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. This is a recipe I got off the internet. Hopefully it's pretty close to the real one. I saw a couple different variations. This seemed like one of the simplest ones to me. But it's a punch drink. It's very similar to eggnog. A lot of people refer to it as the Puerto Rican eggnog. It's not really an eggnog. I don't believe that, in this recipe it doesn't call for eggs. I think there are variations where it's you can do an actual cooked recipe, but I still don't think that those call for eggs either. Anyways, so we're going to do this recipe, a very simple one. Sweetened condensed milk, evaporated milk, coco Lopez, nutmeg, cinnamon, and vanilla extract. And the alcohol we're going to use is dark spiced rum, or black spiced rum, I should say. Most popular one is probably Kraken. I got this one because the guy at Total Wine suggested it. I have no basis on it. I've never drank black spiced rum. I'm not a huge spiced rum fan anyways. Tastes fine. It does definitely have that spiced rum zing to it. Not bad, but for a drink that I assume is going to be fairly coconut heavy, it needs something else in the process, and I think that that's exactly what you should do. I've seen other recipes where it calls for white rum, whatever your preference is. Give it a try many different ways. I even saw another recipe where they used, instead of evaporated milk or in connection with the evaporated milk, they used coconut milk. Maybe to thin it out, maybe to give it a little bit more complexity, more depth. Don't know. I'm not going to try that one this time, but it's a possibility. It's something to look into. So you're going to need a blender for this. It's not a frozen drink. Although I assume you could freeze it. Although I don't know how that will affect the taste. I'm sure it will water it down quite a bit. You could freeze it, but it's a blended drink because it's got all these ingredients. You need to spin them up real quick. Aerate them, I assume. And then you're going to put it in a container and you're going to put it in the fridge. I saw most of the recommendations for at least 4 hours before serving. I imagine it's perfectly drinkable immediately, but the recommendation was 4 hours before serving. Interesting side note, apparently it has a very long shelf life. It says it keeps for like a month or more. So anyways, without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to start by adding sweetened condensed milk. Open up my handy dandy electric can opener. Anyways, hopefully that's not too loud. Might be able to talk over it. So this is a really interesting drink. I hope it works out pretty well. Sounds like a very unique cocktail. Especially for Christmas time, because it is more of a holiday type deal. You make it? Alright, he's done. Let's see how the audio sounded on that. Sweetened condensed milk, so delicious. Anyways, pour that bad boy in there. So, might be helpful to use either the evaporated milk or even the rum to clear out the sweetened condensed milk, and probably coco Lopez because they're both very thick. Alright, next we're going to add a can of evaporated. By the way, I should have mentioned, although most sweetened condensed milk come in pretty much one can size, 14 ounces of sweetened condensed milk, 12 ounces of evaporated, and 15 to 16 ounces of cream of coconut, specifically coco Lopez is what most of them call for. Handy dandy candy opener. These things are nice because they're hands-free and all that. Evaporated is not as tasty. I'm going to pour the two of them together because this is a little more liquidy. Might even want to mix it up a little. You can mix it into the thing, get it to come out a little better. There's going to be a lot of this video cut. Rely on my patented smash edits. So just to share, the technique I was using there is just to keep some of the evaporated milk back and poured it into the sweetened condensed milk because the evaporated milk is much more liquidy than the sweetened condensed milk, so it helps to get the gooey sweetened condensed milk out of the can. But like I said, you could use the rum for that. Might even work better. But you don't have to do it either way. I mean, however you end up doing it, it's just a suggestion that I have to make your life a little easier. Life hack! Alright, so I haven't completely gotten rid of the evaporated milk yet, but you want to put all of it in there. I'm going to keep some to use on the cream of coconut, Coco Lopez specifically. You can actually make your own cream of coconut. I'm not going to do that. Plus the recipe that I saw just called for all these, so I'm just kind of following it slavishly. But there's a pretty easy way to do it. It's something like your coconut milk, sugar, and some other ingredient. It's like coconut fat or something like that, coconut oil, I don't remember. But if I can think of it or find a recipe for it, I'll post it in the description or something like that. But it seems like a cool thing to do if you have the time. I don't have time. Didn't have to use my handy dandy electric can opener. This one's got a pop top. Coco Lopez is so damn delicious. I don't know if I can get a tilt on that, but it's just so gooey and wonderful. It is good stuff. But into the blender it goes. Ooh, it's thick. I don't know how many C's that has in it. Okay, so once you got all that in there, now you get to add your cinnamon and your nutmeg. This one calls for a quarter teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/8 teaspoon of nutmeg, and then 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So we'll do exactly that, but I'm gonna get a little sloppy with it. I'm gonna do it over the thing, so if a little bit extra gets in there, I'm not all that concerned. They call a heaping teaspoon. Nutmeg, 1/8 teaspoon. Something like that, I feel, is probably not so important to be exact. Now the vanilla, probably want to be a little bit more precise because it definitely adds a lot of flavor to it. The extract, ooh, yeah, it's potent. That one calls for 1 teaspoon. I remember hearing a story about, I think it was from one of my teachers actually, told about how his mom used to give him a teaspoon of vanilla extract in the milk, in his milk, and it was so good and he loved it. One day he got a hold of the bottle and he was like, I'm gonna drink it straight. And he did not like the flavor of it. And that's because it's super potent. I think it also happened when he was a kid, so. Okay, now that you got all those ingredients, it's time for the booze. So, it calls for this recipe, 1.5 cups. I think this is where you get a little bit more into the as you please area of it. So, my shaker is a little over 8 ounces, probably about 10 ounces, so I'll do like 1.5 of those because, I like my drinks boozy. Honestly, that might be closer to 2 cups. So that's everything. And then you put the lid on it and blend it on high. A few minutes, 30 seconds, I mean. Or probably like 30 seconds. And loud noises. Alright. Well, that's pretty much it. Then you're going to put it into your container, and then you're going to refrigerate it. I can already tell. I may have overboozed it. I would stick closer to that 1.5 cups probably. I got definitely closer to 2 cups. Might have even been 2 cups and 2 ounces because I filled it completely once and then a little less than quite half. So I couldn't tell if it was exactly half or it was a little over the half. I don't know, whatever. So I may have gotten closer to 2 cups and then some. But I would definitely say, it smells good. But it's definitely got some powerful booze notes to it. So pour it in your container. that's in your container. I'm going to taste a bit, but then through the power of editing, we're going to taste after it's been in the fridge. I'm going to put an ice cube in it. Legit tastes like eggnog. It's got some heat to it, and that's probably my fault. But that's actually very tasty. I think once it calms down, it's been in the fridge for overnight and gets a little bit more relaxed, it should be definitely a bit more palatable, but it does taste very good. It's just that I can get the heat in my nose from the booze, and maybe that's the type of rum I use too. Maybe I should have gone with the Kraken. It's only like $2 more, but the salesman was very convincing, sort of, and the fact that I'm not an expert on black spice rum anyways, was willing to try a different one. It's not bad. It's really not. But it's definitely thick, definitely sweet. And the booze, like I said, is too hot. But that's probably just because I added too much. So if you stick a little closer to that 1.5 cup, you should probably be fine. But to test my theory, through the magic of time travel, I'm going to put this in the fridge, and overnight, in the morning-ish, we're going to see how it turned out. Right? Time travel! Anyways, so here I am a day later with the finished product, all refrigerated overnight. I'm going to give it a sip, see how it tastes. If it made any difference. Just a little bit. Having had some time to think about it, I think it probably would have been better to add the coconut milk, because we kind of thin it out a little bit, because that's a really thick drink. So I think that if you're going to do it, it's optional, but I would say throw in a can of coconut milk as well. It's a little bit more mild. Still quite delicious, still very, spice forward, cinnamon, nutmeg, and everything that's going on with the dark rum. Enjoy the dark rum. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but it is a bit on the astringent side. The black spice rum is what it's called. Anyways, it's pretty good. I recommend this. The Coquito turned out to be very good. So again, simple recipe. A can of sweetened condensed milk, a can of evaporated milk, a can of coco Lopez, a 1.5 cups of rum, or to your choosing, 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, a full teaspoon of vanilla extract. Put it in a blender on high for a minute or so. Then put it in a pitcher, refrigerate it overnight. You got yourself a nice, delicious drink. It is delicious. It is sweet. It is heavy. I wouldn't recommend having more than like 1 or 2 because it's very heavy, but it is delicious. Words. So that's going to do it for this episode of This Whole Last Call on the Coquito. Thank you for joining us. Do us a favor and give us a like on the video. Check us out on socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Instagram is our busiest one so far. A lot of subscribers on there. Might all be spam, might not. Anyway, so thank you for those of you who do subscribe. Before I go, I will say we do have a new, still relatively new, partnership program with brightswimwear.com. They're a company out of Sweden, and they make swimwear, luxury swimwear for the everyman or woman. And if you go there and use our code TWL25, you get 25% off your purchase. So go to brightswimwear.com and use our code TWL25 if you're in the market for some swimwear. So that's going to do it for us today. Again, check us out, hit us up on the socials, subscribe, suggest anything that you want, comment, please. Interaction. Love it. Bye.